So we're almost at the end of the Creativity in the Enneagram series. I'm Samantha Mackay, Enneagram coach certified by the Chestnut Paes Enneagram Academy, and it's been fascinating to explore the 27 Enneagram subtypes through the lens of creativity and see how that shapes how we perceive and understand and practice creativity and creative expression. And today I'm talking with Anna Sorko, a social three based in Finland, and she runs her own business as a collective leadership coach. And we talk about the difference between having a goal and creatively working towards it versus just being creative in the moment and adapting to whatever the moment needs. And as an entrepreneur, she's noticed it's not a role in society that's neither highly or lowly valued, which gives her a place to experiment and play with a definition of what success is to her from an authentic perspective. It was really a fascinating conversation, especially when we talked about her inner theatre. I was really appreciative of Anna's time and sharing her journey with us. So thank you. Enjoy. So, what does creativity mean to you?
Well, as I think of creativity through the lenses of the Enneagram, I think of the three centers, for example. So it can be the creativity in the mind with the ideas and innovations and imagination. And then it can be with the heart center, like the emotional creativity, relational creativity, what we are creating here right now. And in the body center, then it's more like the actions and expressions, what comes through my hands or with my body and so on. It's quite holistic, and also it's more like an attitude or way of living your life in that very moment, and I don't know, somehow maybe balancing between the centers and the instincts and what to use when and what kind of actually what kind of creativity suits that moment. That
Mm.
could be. And also as a social three, I am aware that I like structural creativity, so some kind of goals, for example, that I'm aiming to do something, and then whether it's, I don't know, something related with my work or painting or whatever. So kind of strategic creativity, which is inspiring to me because it gives me a purpose, kind of. And then it can also be like collaborative or others motivating creativity when I can be a part of a group and we can be creative together or get something done together. So that type of creativity is also really inspiring.
I love that
And
definition of
yeah,
it's what's coming up in the moment, like what is needed in this moment. And that is where allowing that creativity to flow. And I'm really curious, like, what does creativity mean to you as an individual? How does creativity show up in your life?
well, that's already something for a three that I know I've worked on, kind of like being creative in the moment, because it's more like I have this goal and then I plan how I am creative to go towards that goal.
Mm.
So letting go type of creativity has been a really a journey for me. Um, well, creativity in my personal life, first of all, I come from countryside, so there the creativity was a lot about problem solving and everyday kind of creativity, and well, that suited the three quite perfectly, being innovative in the everyday works. But also nowadays, I work as an entrepreneur. I'm a young entrepreneur. I started my own company a year and a half ago, and I'm a coach. And first, I started to coach purpose-driven entrepreneurs in their marketing and communication, branding, because that's where my background is, my career. And then due to this economic situation, I've already had to reinvent my business kind of, and now I'm more focused on organizations and teams that want to lead in a collective leadership style.
Mm.
So the whole business sector for me is like really being creative. I create my own services, the content, the workshops, the courses. So that type of creativity. And I've also worked with really creative people all of my life. I started as an actor. I was 2 years with this international theater company, and we toured in 4 different countries. So that was one type of creativity. Then I've been working in 3 different startups where we had patents and everything. So that was type of creativity. I've been working with engineers, and I think that they are really creative. And then I've also worked in marketing agencies, and they are also creative people.
A lot of problem
And
solving, as you said earlier.
yes, I also enjoy the company or being surrounded by the people who are innovative, who create new things.
I was going to say, you've known that you're a social three for a while, and you mentioned doing some inner work to shift from being just focused on goals to allowing that creativity flow in the moment. Can you tell me a little
Yeah.
more about that?
I think that my inner work started actually with a course. It was called colorist course, where we like painted and wrote our whole life so far in 7 year cycles,
Right.
and we tried to find the patterns that we have been like living, and that was interesting. Then and I've also done uh, emotional art therapy. And there as well, it's not like about goals or painting something realistic or something um, that I want to present afterwards, but it was more getting inwards and into my inner landscapes. I've also done improvisation theater, and there as well, I wanted to like be able to let go of the traditional theater, and I'm gonna learn this and I'm gonna act like this,
Mm.
because in impro you really have to stay in the moment, otherwise you're going to lose it and it just doesn't work. But I've also, something that I've invented myself is my inner theater. I've named the my ego and my soul, and then there's the manager of my universe, and then there are other characters, and I have dialogue with these these persons, and that helps me to get in touch with my like with my soul as well.
Wow. I like the idea of
So
that inner theater.
yes, it's been really helpful.
Social threes are known for being good, well, all threes, but of reading the room. But social threes particularly as being good at sort of performing for an audience. So I'm curious, like, how have you noticed that change from going to being an actor to being in the business world
Mm.
to improv? Like, how has that shifted, or how have you just become more aware of that as being part of your creative expression?
Well, for example, in the theater, for that's a good example. When I was acting, I knew that I'm taking a role, and this is how I'm supposed to be, and this is how I'm going to present to you. But then more and more with the Enneagram and with the help of other types of inner work, uh, it's more being able to be vulnerable in front of people, being more present, hopefully being more truthful, going to the sixth direction where my growth point is. Uh, really asking, what is this true to me? For example, with my company, I've done quite an inventory of the style of doing the business compared to what I did after before that. Um, I've been like 25 years in the corporate life,
Mm.
and the way of doing business, for example, there was really different from the way that I'm doing now. I had to reinvent the word success, for example, which is a big thing for a 3. So what does it mean really to me, and not looking from the outside perspective, and
Mm.
what it means in our society or in my peer groups or in my social environments. And yeah, it's been a long journey, especially this transition and transformation with my company and being an entrepreneur. Also, being an entrepreneur, it's a funny role. It's not like it's really highly valued or low valued. It's something that
Mm.
has given me the opportunity to create it really from the inside out, so to speak.
I really like this thinking about how do we redefine success, and
Mm,
being in a role that doesn't come with a predefined definition of success. And so
mm,
asking you to look inwards to think about what actually is that? What does that mean for me? And as you were saying that, I noticed quite a lot of sadness come up. And I'm just
mm.
wondering if that was something you might speak to.
About the sadness.
Yeah, if you noticed that.
Yeah, yes. I've I've always been really sensitive and emotional. I've got the picture that not all the 3s are so sensitive, but I also think that the sadness or the grief even is underneath, like the even the shame, what is said to be the central emotion for 3s. And yeah, I think it's even sadness to let go of some of the um, like social
Mm,
circles,
yeah.
knowing that I have to be myself and let people choose if they want to be with me as I am or not. And that's been a long journey as well. And well, being this type of entrepreneur, like purpose-driven entrepreneur, not many of my closest people, they don't even really understand what I'm doing. All these Enneagrams and collective leadership and what else, they're like really weird stuff for most of my most of the people around me. So
Mm,
it's being an inventory of relationships as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Reinventing relationships and your
Yes.
relationship to the world around you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also getting like new people into my life, like really beautiful people, and finding myself um kind of again with them. And I know that we can do the inner work to a certain part on our own, but then afterwards that's going to happen in collective circumstances, especially I think for social 3,
Mm,
where all the images have been built, that's where they have to like be taken down as well. Yeah.
yeah. Such a journey to deconstruct and reconstruct all of that.
Yeah, quite work. Different type of work that
Yeah.
that 3 is used to. It's so much
Yeah.
easier to do the work outside, like concentrate on the outside techniques. I've learned so many techniques with creativity, for example, in marketing agency, how to be creative and innovative and so on. But getting into your own world, it's like a different work.
I'm curious about how in your marketing and business career you avoided failure. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if that's by taking on some of these creative techniques you learned from leading agencies.
Yeah, definitely. It's easier to go by a method. If somebody gives you a form and then you just start implementing it, of course, it's easier. But I believe it's more valuable to be authentic and really to get whatever comes from inside me and somehow take the creativity from there. It's not necessarily a technique. It can be different things. I do meditate. I love being in the nature. I'm from the countryside, so we lived by a lake, and water is really important to me. We still live quite close to a lake, and I go almost daily to swim or all around the year, even in the wintertime. And that's been something, actually, that was something that the cold water, the icy water, gave me a feeling of my body from the inside.
Hmm.
And that shifted something in my meditation as well, because the self-press is my lowest
Mhm.
instinct. So it's been always hard for me to get in touch with my body and take care of my body. I have to reserve time to do it.
Mhm.
And now, for example, with the swimming, I really got the sense of my body from the inside. That's a funny feeling. And then I realized that it affected the way I felt myself also, for example, in meditation.
I can imagine
So
being in the cold water would definitely
yeah,
contribute
yeah,
to that feeling from the inside.
yeah. First you feel it on your skin, but then afterwards
It
it
just
goes
sinks
deeper.
in. As a social three, like what have been some of the ways that you might have been avoiding failing before you really started doing more inner work?
I'm at least good in explaining things. Communication is my field. So I kind of explain that I don't fail. I learn. I've learned to explain that this is a learning phase and
Hmm.
this is how I'm learning. So uh, it's hard for me to admit that I failed with something.
Hmm.
For example, I got fired from my previous company, and I've been explaining that it was a good thing, because here in Finland, then afterwards you are supported financially, and
Right.
that's where I realized that okay, this is my chance to study a little bit more, and then uh, try this enterprise, this company of my own. So I kind of explain my way through. Something that I've been avoiding is taking too high risks. If I see already something that I'm not going to succeed in that, or I'm not going to be like perfect already in that, then I may have not like taken that road.
Mm.
That's my defense, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
I know that being productive and like the external validation and perfectionism and competing with each other, or with other people, they are like my blocks kind of
Mm.
with the creativity, the hardest ones.
Yeah. And so it's that sense of if you look at it and go, actually, I can't succeed at that, so I just won't, will
Mm,
choose a different path.
yeah.
Um,
So that's why this entrepreneur stuff is it's my master class.
I know running your own business puts you in all these sort of situations which stresses out all of your instincts, right? There's always
Yes. And
something.
already, yes. And also, I could think that I failed because I wasn't kind of able to sell for my first segment for these purpose-driven companies.
Right.
But I explained it at that, okay, it's the economic situation and they don't have the means to invest at this moment. And that's why I didn't succeed in that. And I have to reinvent myself.
What supports you to be creative?
I said the nature, that's definitely one of
Okay.
them. But bed, bath, and bus are the places where you you are in your most creative.
That's
So I
really
think that
true, actually. Bed, bath, and
bed,
bus.
yeah, so the bath would be the water, for example, for me. But the bed, definitely. With not being employed by someone else, I can decide my own schedules nowadays. I try to stay in my bed in the mornings, so kind of get slowly up and try to sense what are my feelings and my senses, what kind of thoughts I have in the morning, because I've noticed that in the mornings I have like sometimes quite good ideas. And I've noticed that they come from somewhere from my subconscious mind. And I may use it sometimes if I have a problem, if I'm thinking of something. But oftentimes it's business related thing, but I may give my subconscious mind in the evening request that, okay, I want to have ideas for this, and then I try to be alert in the morning if I have any new creative ideas. Sometimes it actually works. And sometimes I wake up in between 3 and 5 a.m. and I just have these ideas coming, and some of them are good, not all usable, but some of them are good. So bed definitely.
Mm.
And then the nature, the extended bath, and then some kind of structure helps me. I have some kind of framework that if I want to create something, for example, a painting or something, it's easier for me to put myself into it.
What kind of structure, like when you're with painting, like tell me about a kind of structure you might use
For
with.
example, that I've reserved time for it. That I have,
Hmm.
okay, this Saturday afternoon, it's all about painting, for example. And then I have the place where I can just put everything out, and I don't need, because I like things being kind of neat and nice. So that's, I kind of give my creativity the permission. So okay, here you can go loose, do whatever, and then it's easier to go from there.
What kind of things do you paint?
Um, Depending, sometimes there as well, I may have like goals that I'm painting for someone else, or something I want to make someone happy with the um, subject that I know that they like, or it's at present, or so on. But sometimes I just want to give it a permission to do whatever. Then it can be abstract, or it can be something. Quite often it's something to do with an emotion that I want to express somehow. I also do paint like stones because they don't require so much. You can take a small stone and paint it, and you can toss it away if it doesn't work, or then you can put it somewhere if it's okay. That's also something that I find useful. I kind of separating when I'm the artist and when I'm the gallerist. So when I put my artist hat on, then I can do whatever, and then afterwards comes the gallerist who says that, okay, well, there's not much use with this, so you can throw it away. Or okay, we can work with this and we can develop, and there's something that we can do with this. So,
I like having those distinct hats. That, yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah,
And
it
when you're
helps.
painting for other people, do you find yourself wearing the hats at the same time because you're really focused on the other person?
Yeah, I may be wearing them both at the same time. Yeah.
So when there's someone else in the pitch and there's an audience, it's a bit harder to separate.
Yes, yes. But that's also something, balancing the ego and the soul. They can work together.
Mm.
As I was mentioning about the inner theater.
I really like this idea of having the two hats as one way to
Mhm.
navigate creative blocks because that can, because it can be a block when you're just thinking about other people or when you just needed that
Mm.
permission to just flow with what's coming up. What are some of the other ways that you use to manage creative blocks, or do they happen? Some threes have said they don't even have creative blocks because they only do things that they know they can be successful at. So I'm curious, what's that like for
I
you?
do have, I do have. Well, thinking about the Enneagram, for example, it can be that balancing the three centers that I have, for example, understanding of what I'm going to do. For example, it can be that okay, I want to do something for a present for someone else. So I understand what I do. I have some ideas. Then with the heart center, I take the compassion or the love, the that I want to, I want this person to really feel that I really appreciate, that I love her, and I want to give something from my heart. And then, well, then it's supposed to come through your hands, knowing that, okay, I can do this. I have the ability, I have the autonomy, and I can do it. So it can kind of go through the centers as well.
I think using the three centers Like when you get stuck is a good way to bring yourself back and go, am I missing a plan? Am I missing a
Mm,
direction? Am I missing consistency or routine or follow through? I think that can be really useful as a little framework.
yes. And also, I was thinking um, that from the vulnerable side of me, like embracing my shadows, both my light and my dark. Sometimes I can block myself with the things that I may be good at, but I don't admit myself, or that I don't want to, I can't see them in myself, for example. It can be something that is really hard for a three, or at least for me as a three, just enjoying the doing part and enjoying the ride when I have already the goal in my mind. So
Right.
just giving that some space,
Mm.
making the space that okay, it's okay to get loose and for example, or the kids are actually good with that. Uh, it's easier for me to throw myself into their creativity and be funny or goofy or something with
Mm.
them because they kind of set the stage for that, and then it's okay.
Mm. Kids are good at play in that sense. And if you can just, this is what I'm learning from hanging out with young kids. If you can just allow yourself to go with them, you
Yeah,
can learn
exactly.
so much about play and silliness and
Yeah.
screwing, just,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. And
absolutely.
they also uh, stay in the moment or in the flow. They can change from one play to another just like that, especially when there are like younger ones, when they are
Mm.
toddlers and so on. They just move from one thing to another when they think of something
Yeah.
more fun.
It was interesting what you're saying about how do you allow yourself to enjoy the process and the doing once you've got this goal? Because it's so
Mm,
easy to get focused on the product and the doing of the doing and not just being with it. It's almost like that attachment to the goal sort of
yeah.
overtakes that present moment or the flow of the process.
Something there is feeling safe or the psychological safety. So if I know that I'm still safe, even if I don't get this right or something, or if this doesn't turn out right, then it's easier to enjoy as well. Somehow it's really important what kind of space I can create or we can create together for the creativity.
Mm.
And that's even something that I think that considering the my social instinct, that may be some kind of gift for the social instincts, like the interpersonal creativity, how we can create a space where you can belong, where you can get connect, where it can be inspiring, and where you can like create the relationships and sense of belonging to something greater than just you or the group.
I agree. I think that is a really
Yeah.
important part of that role. It was you had me thinking about when I used to facilitate sort of group design thinking sort of sessions.
Mm,
And for me, as a self-pres social oppressed, at points I'd get anxious. I really loved that everyone was being creative, but I was getting anxious that I wasn't in control because if I wasn't in control, I might get
mm,
harmed in some way. And
mm,
it was very difficult for me to let go and just allow the process to be because I was sort of separate from the process. I wasn't in the process. And I can imagine for a social
mm.
dominant, that would have been being a facilitator would be a very different experience.
Yes, yes. I do like um, facilitating, but there as well the learning to kind of dance with the line where you are
Hmm.
influencing on the group and where you get like take yourself back out of
Hmm.
the like don't be in the way of the creativity, let the people do it. It's a tricky dance. It's in its best, it's beautiful, it's really
Mm.
beautiful when it works and you can see that okay, now there's something going on, now they do something inspiring, and or it's really
And
it's
I think so
beautiful.
much in that process is being able to watch your ego um,
Mm,
when it's
yes.
rising up to go, oh, we're not, there's a lot of anxiety here. We're not in control. And, to be able to go, well, do you need to be in control right now? Can we just hold
Mm-hmm.
the space? Is there a need to
Mm-hmm.
be fearful or worried? Are you under attack?
Yep.
Um, and to work with it. So yeah, it's really
Yes.
interesting. Something you mentioned earlier was about how social threes like to be admired. And I'm curious about how you've seen the need to be admired for your creativity or your work. How has that changed over the years as you've gotten to know more about your social threeness?
Well, what comes to my mind first is earlier on, I would have wanted to be appreciated or admired how well I did something, or how perfect or excellent or I don't know, grandiose it was. And now I would rather be appreciated how authentic it is. Can be even weird, but if you can see that it's really true, that it's really authentic, then that would touch my heart. And I've noticed that sometimes if I'm with my heart open, it can also open others' hearts and create also that space to be beautiful together. And then maybe something can rise up from their heart as well.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
notice myself when I different. This is like a demonstration of the ego speaking like this, and then when I go to my soul, I start to cry right away. This is really
Well, it's
funny.
beautiful because I don't think people truly appreciate just how, threes are the most emotional type on the Enneagram. I don't think people appreciate how much
Mm,
sadness they're holding back all the time.
yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's been wonderful you sharing that with us. So thank you so much. I really
Thank you
appreciated
for
your
admiring me for
authenticity.
that.
Yes, I'm going to admire you for your authenticity.
Yay! Now I'm not sure who is talking here.
Ah, the joy of the
All of
Enneagram.
us.
We're
The
all at the party
three theater.
together. So my last question is, what creation are you most proud of?
Well, that's my my master class, this company of mine, which is still a toddler, but it's been really a teaching journey about what I really want to change in this world, what's my part? How can I serve the world? What
Mm,
can I do to change the things that I see that are probably not working at the moment from my point of view? How can I uh, be a part of the transformation in, for example, working together? Well, I believe that my social tree comes in this way as well, that if I want to help organizations and teams to uh, be more in a collective leadership. I hope that I can bring hope for the people in organizations and different perspectives, and um, help them to cooperate, let go of the old structure that may not serve anymore the way it has been serving so far, and being creative in a heartful way.
I think we definitely live in a world that needs more help with collaborative creativity and creating together.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good. Collaborative creativity. I like that.
Thank you so much for sharing like your
Thank you.
journey and being a social three and your adventures, and best of luck with where your company's going and the adventure it's taking you on.
Thank you. And thank you for this series of yours. This is really inspiring. I'm sure that many people will enjoy it, and they will expand their idea of creativity. It was fun being here. Quite a journey, quite an emotional journey.